One company handles 90% of all the searches you make online. It's an empire so massive it feels permanent. But the United States government decided to shatter it into pieces. When you open your phone and type a question, it feels like a voluntary choice. But behind the scenes, alternative search engines are actively blocked from reaching you. In 2020, the Department of Justice filed a lawsuit to end that dominance, launching the most significant corporate antitrust trial of the century. Google maintained its absolute market dominance by systematically buying the only digital pathways to the consumer. This chart shows how those pathways were purchased. Every year, Google pays Apple $20 billion. In exchange, Google Search is locked in as the default on Safari. Because most people never change defaults, this guarantees Google is the inescapable first touchpoint. During the trial, prosecutors revealed deleted executive chats and internal emails. In those messages, Google executives explicitly discussed strategies to crush their smaller rivals. The courts agreed. In consecutive rulings, two separate federal judges declared Google an illegal anti-competitive monopoly. To fix the market, the DOJ demanded the corporate equivalent of the death penalty. They asked the court to force Google to spin off the Chrome web browser and the Android operating system into entirely separate companies. Google was backed into a corner, facing imminent corporate execution. Then, an external force disrupted the timeline. 5 years passed between the initial 2020 lawsuit and the final 2025 punishment phase. In that brief window, a new technology called generative artificial intelligence arrived on the consumer market and rapidly spread. People stopped typing keywords into a search bar to get a list of blue links. Instead, millions of users began asking direct conversational questions to get immediate synthesized answers. The justice system had engineered a lawsuit to fix the static internet of 2020. Now, the court had to issue a ruling on an entirely unrecognizable digital landscape in 2025. Judge Amit Mehta faced a difficult dilemma. He had to apply structural penalties to a tech market that was shifting daily. The DOJ argued that Google would use its vast resources to dominate AI in the same way it dominated search. But the judge looked at the data and saw a different reality. This chart visualizes that market attrition. Google maintains a dominant top position, but rapidly climbing lines represent new competitors like ChatGPT and Perplexity, actively siphoning away millions of queries. Real-world data showed the internet becoming a highly competitive war zone, correcting itself without forced government intervention. So Judge Mehta abandoned the corporate breakup. Instead, he implemented a 6-year ban preventing Google from purchasing exclusive default rights and forced the company to renegotiate its contracts with Apple every single year. As a secondary measure, the court ordered Google to share its vast troves of search index data and user interaction metrics directly with its smaller rivals. Rather than dismantling Google by force, the justice system essentially outsourced the destruction of the monopoly to the free market's newest technology. The financial markets reacted to the 2025 ruling immediately. This chart shows Google's valuation immediately following the verdict announcement. The stock spiked 8% because investors realized the company got to keep its most valuable assets, Chrome and Android. Google was officially found guilty of illegal monopolistic behavior, yet the lack of a forced breakup was viewed globally as a massive victory for big tech. The US government spent 5 years securing its most significant antitrust conviction in decades, and it ultimately resulted in little more than a corporate slap on the wrist. The 5-year, multi-billion-dollar legal war against the search giant ended with a deep irony. The government didn't need to execute the search monopoly. The rapid evolution of artificial intelligence naturally rendered the old search and click model obsolete. But as that old structure fades, a lingering question remains about the future of digital power consolidation. Instead of worrying about how the old monopoly survived, we have to ask who is currently building the next one.